Okay, great. Looks like
Okay,
it's
we're ready.
recording.
Mhm.
All right, we'll go ahead and ask for the roll call, please.
Miss Anthony,
Here.
Miss Bright,
Present.
Miss Clement,
Present.
Mr. Hayes.
Present.
Uh, Mr. Mayor, he's our brand new DRB member, but he's traveling today, so he won't be able to join in. Miss Shaw,
Here.
Mr. Stevie, is he here? No. Okay, we have quorum. Miss
Right.
Bright.
Are we doing the election today, or we want to wait for Chris?
I think we
We
should
could
wait.
move that item to later, Miss Bright.
Can we do that?
If
Let's
you
do that.
want to, just in case he joins in later.
Sounds like a good plan. Let's move on to the review and approval of the draft law and meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve or any discussion?
One motion to approve.
All right.
I'll
Second that.
second the motion.
Excellent. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? All right, the minutes pass. And next on our agenda, we'll do our call to the audience. Do we have anyone in attendance today who has new business to bring before the Design Review Board? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on to number 5, which is our awning replacement project. Maria, do you want to give us an overview of that?
Yes, Ms. Bright, members of the DRB, these properties in the Rio Nuevo area, so this will be an RNA review. And the property owner is proposing the replacement of the existing awning on site with a new awning, maintaining the same overall dimensions, maintaining the same posts and railings, but replacing the roof. Instead of cloth, they're proposing corrugated metal. This the structural side is contributing to the downtown Tucson National Register Historic District, and it was reviewed as a minor review by the Tucson-Pima County Historical Commission's Plan Review Subcommittee, the PRS, last month. And the PRS indicated in their review, and I'm going to read it, the awning shape and material are both fine. The 2 posts need to be removed, though as these are not consistent with the character of awnings in the downtown district. All other awnings are cantilevered and supported only by attachment to the facade. So that's their recommendation. There was further discussion with a member of the PRS who did a minor review. And Jason Lilienthal is here from Historic Preservation staff to help answer any questions that the DRB may have regarding this review by the PRS. I see that Chris has joined us. Good morning, Chris. Can you let me know what time you came in?
Just like a minute ago. So
Okay. And
sorry,
that's all I have.
had to drive my car today instead of riding my bike, so it takes extra minutes. I didn't factor that in.
Chris, I'll let you take over. We were just getting started here. Maria gave us a review of the first case.
Okay, very good. So, Mr. Chair, if you don't have any questions for me or any members of the DRB, the applicant is here to present the project.
Let's go.
Tim, are you going to be the one presenting?
I'd like to speak for a moment, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Maria, this is Brant Hazen. I have Tammy and William from my office on this call, along with Tim Pappas, the owner of Arizona Awnings, who actually did the corrugated metal over street taco. And just to give you all a perspective so you can visualize this project, I bought 2 years ago the building next to adjacent to the Fox Theater, consisting of the Subway restaurant that moved out in March. Next to it is Perque No, and I would like this committee to understand that Perque No also has these posts that the PRS stated did not exist in other awnings. So there are permitted structures of this with the same posts adjacent to this project. I also installed a Roadrunner coffee last year. I think it's a nice improvement, along with Jaw Ramen and Street Taco, the latter two which have the corrugated metal awning structures. And I'm trying to simply put that corrugated metal structure on top of the existing Subway. And I think that Subway awning is antiquated. It looks to me quite dated. It's made of a fabric and it's rectangular in shape. And I'm simply trying to update the entire building to make it look very nice. I've been met with some resistance. I have been told most recently, to remove the posts. And Tim can elaborate on this. These poles, along with Perque No next door, were permitted about 20 years ago. And if we remove these posts, the structure will collapse. They're very different on this building. I don't want to confuse the committee, but these two buildings are sister buildings. They're technically separated, but they're combined with an elevator that they share. And the Street Taco and Jaw Ramen restaurants have a cantilevered overhang in which you can stabilize an awning underneath that, allowing you to do it without posts. However, the Perque No and Subway building is a straight down facade, and you'd have to drill through that building to support this idea of a awning without posts. I can't afford to do that. I'm already spending $11,000 with Tim and his company to simply do what I'm asking to do, attach a corrugated metal on top of the existing awning. I can't afford another 15 or so thousand to drill through the building and support it without posts. So either we can do this idea, which I'm proposing, or we can go back to that. I hate it, the fabric existing awning. I would welcome any questions, please. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
So, Tim, can you share your screen and walk the DRB through the project?
Maybe. I'm actually on my phone, and so I don't have
Okay, let me
the documents on my
do it for
computer,
you.
but okay, thank you.
So just tell me to move as you want me to.
Yeah, let's keep scrolling downward to the photo page that has the new awning layout. It shows the existing awning, the proposed awning, and the Street Taco and J Ramen. Yes, that one. Okay. So, sorry, Brand, I don't mean to contradict you here, but to be clear, the Street Taco awning, I did that several years ago and it was fabric at the time. And so it got converted to corrugated metal somewhere in fairly recent history, but that was not by my company. So I don't know what the process was at the time to get to that point. And then the J Ramen, that was not us either. But one thing I think is an issue here is, the corrugated seems to be fine, but the posts seem to be the sort of the breaking point. I can tell you that the Street Taco and likely the J Ramen was also done under a different building code, and the wind loads were lower by quite a bit. They were 90 versus 115. So with the engineering for this new proposed awning over here at Subway, we're updating it to modern building codes, which, the uplift on that awning is significantly increased. So those posts they're necessary in terms of keeping that thing on the wall. We did talk to the engineer and he did say he would have to run some calculations and it's possible to bolt through the wall, but I can tell you if that happens, there will have to be some reinforced blocking installed and, you know, the wall would have to be cut open, investigated. So it's not just a simple matter of putting bolts through the wall. I think as Brant said, it pretty much would cancel the project because of it'd be cost prohibitive to make those kind of modifications to that building. So I think the only issue is like somebody decided that the posts don't match the look that they're trying to achieve downtown. But you know, I think if you keep, let me see, we'll have to scroll upwards to the page that says it's the second one down with the drawings, and that's got the photo of the awning immediately to the west. The yellow awning, I can't remember the restaurant name, starts with a P, but so that awning does have post. I don't know what building code that one was built under, whether it was the because I think the wind load changed in 2018. So if that was done prior to that, it was under the old wind uh rating versus the new. But either way, I mean, if you get rid of the post off subway, you've still got the post immediately to the west. So I struggle with the reasoning uh behind removal of the post. And in addition to that, like you can barely see them. So I just don't understand how they detract from the overall look. I have a hard time with that one. And so I really struggle with wrapping my head around removing those small 2-inch posts, how that's gonna, you know, improve the appearance of this awning. I'm not, you know, I'm sorry, whoever made this decision, that I don't agree with you, but I just don't agree. I don't see how that detracts from the awning. So I think, you know, I'm just asking somebody to reconsider here, taking into consideration that those posts are required to meet the standards of the building standards, and also it's not, you're not adding posts, they're already there, and two, there's already post immediately to the west. So I think that's my argument here.
Members of the DRB, this is Jason Lilienthal. I'm one of the historic preservation staff. I'd like to just add some additional information here. And this is kind of, I would say this is going to be beneficial for everybody. So that PRS recommendation came on October 23rd. Desiree, the historic preservation officer, and myself met with PRS, I believe it was just this past Tuesday. And one of the things I brought up was the posts might have a very minimal visual impact on the streetscape, but their dimensions are very small. There is an outdoor patio at De Novo Market, and if you've driven by there, those posts are very large. They're about 6 by 6. So these
We're the ones
posts
who
are
did that.
actually smaller with a very minimal, so it's not that bad. So I wanted to let you guys know about that, and that De Novo is in the RNA. So after that discussion too, there was a little bit of the recommendation from that. So I want the DRB to know that. So it was going back to the posts are fine. So that is new information that the DRB and the applicant does not know. So it would be the PRS is the posts are fine, but not to enclose it like Perche Italian has done, because then that obscures the front facade, and that is a historic contributing building. The other thing is, if there's no structure change, which means you keep the posts in place and you don't do a material change and you just do fabric replacement, then it wouldn't require a building permit or RNA review. But if there is going to be a fabric change from fabric to metal, that's one of the things that you need to rule on. One last point I like to make is I went out there yesterday. I took a look. You gotta keep in mind, street tacos and Ya Ramen, they have no posts, they just have railings. Yes, they have a steep pitch corrugated metal. And then if you look at Perche No Italian, if I said that right, They only have posts in the front. They don't have posts that are up along the side of the storefront. And that's what Subway has. It has a post out on the front of the sidewalk and a post up against the wall. I'm not saying this is something that should be removed. I just want everybody to know what the situation is there on, excuse me, West Congress Street. I'll take
Well,
any
thank you,
questions
Jason.
if
This
you
is
have any.
Brant. Thanks, Jason. This is Brant Hazen, the owner. I really appreciate your comments. I understand now that if this body approves it with posts, that both bodies then are approving it with posts. However, your latter comment, I'm not as experienced as you are with this process. What exactly do we have to do now, the next step to change from into the corrugated metal structure, which we want to do? What is the process that we have to get approval for now?
So,
Well,
Brand, the
Maria, if I
process
could,
is the Rio Nuevo area, right? So we now know the PRF recommendation. We're gonna hear today the DRB's recommendation. And then the PDST director is the one making the decision. And she will take into consideration the two recommendations, well, three from staff, from DRB and the PRS. And we may ask you to revise plans or not, but and whatever decision that's going to be, you can appeal it. And I think it goes to the Board of Adjustment for that. But I think right now, what proceeds at this moment is for the DRB to engage with the review and ask questions if they have any.
Okay, Maria, I think I might have missed the critical minute of this conversation before I walked in. Are we here in the middle of an ongoing dispute, or are we ruling on, or are we looking at this like a normal project? Because it sounds like there's already been some determinations and there's some evaluations that have been done that are under or are contentious. It sounds like where are we in this process? Because the items that have been brought up are things that typically I don't think we get so deep into. Like,
yeah,
it's not anything that's been discussed so far. I would not see any of them necessarily happening underneath our 14 questions that we answer up on this board.
yeah, Mr. Chair, members of the DRB, usually with every project, we try to get positive recommendations at every step of the way. So, you know, we try to get a PRS recommendation that is positive, and then go to the DRB. If the PRS request changes, then we ask the applicant to make the changes before we come to you. You know, so you get that positive recommendation from the PRS, but the applicant is attempting to maintain the posts and the railings of the existing
Well, it sounds like they're
structure.
asking us to override PRS, and that's not our purview.
No,
far
you
as I
can,
understand.
your recommendation would be independent. I mean, you can consider what the PRS is recommending, but your recommendation would be additional to the PRS.
Well, it sounds like from the presentation we just, or from the conversation that was just had, this project can happen one way or it's not going to happen, and that there was some determination that posts in this location were not acceptable, and they're looking for us to give remedy to that, or to offer
Maria
some
and
sort
Chair.
of design change, right? Like, we don't offer design changes. I can't tell you whether to change. We can just say that we agree with this as far as our 14 points, or we don't.
Correct. The purview of the DRB would be based on the RNA criteria listed for site and building design.
Maria and Chair, if I could just clarify, this is recommendations that will be presented to the director and then she'll make the decision. Chair, you said you walked in, there's not determinations, it was more of just recommendation with a condition. What is now going on is, as proposed, if it just is no structure change, and they just replace the fabric with fabric, then PRS is okay with that as long as it's not enclosed as the Italian restaurant has done. Now, whether the DRB agrees with that or not, they can make their own recommendations, but that will all be brought forward to the planning director. So I wouldn't say you're overriding it, but also too, I have seen in the historic preservation zones where the advisory board on one hand will deny it, the PRS will approve it, and then staff will have internal discussion and we'll make a recommendation with the planning director on which would be the best course of action. And then we'll notify all parties of where that, what's going to go forward. Hopefully that didn't muddy the waters. I hope that clarified that matter for you. If you have any questions, I'm here to help out as much as I can. There's a Rosemary raised her hand.
Yeah, Rosemary,
Yes.
where'd you go?
I just want to clarify. So my understanding is that PRS was okay with the metal awning, and originally they weren't okay with the columns, but now we've learned this morning that they are actually okay with the columns. So there's not really any point of objection. Is that correct?
So they're okay with the columns, and they're okay with the metal awning, but there's a little bit of there's additional recommendations if they go away from fabric to metal. So, but if they stick to no structure change, let me just repeat this, no structure change and no material change, then from the point of view of the PRS, there should be no building permit to no RNA because it's already here. So a fabric change is, like a change of copy, a copy change, whatever the terminology is. But if they keep the structure with the posts, which PRS is okay with, but they change it from fabric to metal awning, then yes, we'll need a building permit and does need also to the reviews that we're currently going through. So I think to this DRB, you want to make the recommendation of should it just be a fabric change or are you okay with metal or not? Does that help answer your question, Rosemary?
So, Jason,
It
let me
does.
see if I
Thank you.
understand. So the new recommendation by the PRS is the design is correct with, it's okay with them, with the condition that the patio does not get enclosed in the future.
That is correct. And this
Okay,
doesn't
yeah.
set the precedent. So, but it just comes down to, do they want to go with fabric or to metal? I think that's one of the things that needs to be looked at.
It's Brandt, the owner. I'm sorry to interrupt, Jason. This is such a simple conversation. I'm simply trying to put the same exact corrugated metal on Street Taco on top of the existing subway structure. That's it. Not enclose it, no fabric, corrugated metal, same as Street Taco.
Can I add to that for a second? If you continue to scroll down, you'll see we've already submitted structural engineered design for the new framework that'll sit atop of the existing post. So that's kind of what got us to this point. Initially, we had talked to somebody in zoning, and we were under the impression that as long as the overall size of the awning didn't change, we wouldn't need a RNA review, but we would need a building permit. So when I submitted to the building permit, it got kicked back because it in fact did need a review. But we already have the plans drawn. We've already submitted for the new upper structure. So I don't think fabric was ever in the plans. I mean, the whole idea was to change this thing from fabric to metal. The only thing in question is whether or not we could keep the post. So I guess from now, like as we leave this meeting, how do we transition from, okay, yes, we can have the post. Okay, yes, we have plans already designed for the new top and frame. How do we move forward? Do I just resubmit with the city of Tucson? or will there be some sort of a formal approval?
Hey, Tim, let us run through our process here, because you're talking about something that happens after this. It's kind of a sequential set of steps, and where our purview really is mostly about some aesthetic qualities and some and preserving some sort of streetscape standardization. The technical part of what you're talking about, permits, all that stuff, is a totally different path. We're just part of that, getting you to there. So
yeah, I think that's my question is I can't get to the permit part until we get through this.
you got to jump through us first before you can go back to your permits, because that's kind of how that happens. And so let's bear through this and get through. I think we've had some clarification on where we're at. Carol, you had your hand up.
Yes, I'm curious to see how the proposed posts align with the existing posts to the west on the streetscape in plan view. Are they in a line, or are they forward or back?
Between the two restaurants that are adjacent to each other?
Yeah, I want to better understand what that facade is going to look like and feel like as a pedestrian passing through. Will it be will it be an even facade as you're walking through, or will you have to be weaving through posts?
I believe from what I've heard so far, Carol, the posts are the existing posts that are there from the subway. They're remaining. They're just changing off the lid. And,
right.
And I'll let Tim, you may know this, do those posts align with the Porque No? I believe they do, but I want to.
Yeah, can we?
Do you know?
If Tim doesn't have an image, again,
Tim,
this is Jason
you're on mute,
Blumenthal.
Tim.
If I could just say, I was out there and I did look, they do line up. If Tim doesn't have an image, I stood there to the right of this image and I looked behind to see where the awning on Fox Theater was. I turned around, did direct line of sight. Then I went down to Street Tacos, did direct line of sight. They all line up. So there will not be any jaggedness to this facade.
Right. Okay.
Which is helpful.
That is helpful. And
Site
could I
distance is helpful.
clarify that it would be okay with, except for the applicant, to have a cloth awning rather than a metal? Oh, I know. I'm sorry. My question was, do the adjacent awnings meet code of 115 mile per hour wind, or are those under the old criteria? Yeah, we don't know, do we?
Respectfully, I think that's out of our purview. I just want to say.
Out of curiosity, I think
So this is a great view here. I'm sorry, this is Brant. This is a great view you're looking at here. You can see the street taco down on the other end, on the left side of the page. I simply want to take that same exact look, same exact color, same exact corrugated metal, put it on top of Subway. And Chris, I totally appreciate, Mr. Chair, you saying, hey, let's deal with the permit later. I do want to add a little clarity. As a building owner, this is my first chance in 6 months to even speak with anybody from a city. I don't know who the PRS is. I'm grateful for this opportunity. We just have no idea what anybody wants for us to do. We're trying to do it. We've been trying for 6 months.
Brent, it's still kind of this. We don't have that ability to, I don't know. We're not the permits. We're a checkbox on the permit process that you need to talk to us for a minute. We're about aesthetics and some other items versus permits. And if you're doing work downtown, this is just a step in the permit process. So you're moving forward in the permit process. We're a step in that. We are just not the board to talk about. We're not the board to talk about bolts and nuts and connections and things like that, and wind loads and things like that. We're about facades and rhythm and making sure there's shade and some other criteria which we're about to go through. So you're on the right path. You just gotta, let's run through this real quick in a couple minutes here, and then you can be on to the next steps. Carol?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the reason for my question is that we're using a potential awning structure that may not meet code as precedent. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, Mr. Steve, Miss Clement, members of the DRB, building permit staff is reviewing this project as
Right.
well, and
Right.
that's in their purview. So
Right.
they
So
will inform.
if they need to upsize their bolts or connections or the underside framing of this, Carol, to hit that wind load, that's engineering and those guys downtown making sure that happens. We're more,
Right.
you know what I mean? In our world, it's, do we think it looks right? Is it the right proportions, right scales, and materials? That's where we are. And whether or not those ones down the road meet code has,
I'm
know.
talking about the existing awning further to the west down the street. If that
Correct.
gets blown off, which is not under review or anything,
Nope.
then we're using that as precedent to set this awning with poles.
right, and they would have to replace that awning per current structural requirements, which this project is.
Okay. Well, this project already has signed engineered drawings for the.
Correct. For
Yeah,
current
so
code. Right.
they're good for that.
Correct.
Yeah. Huh.
I'd say let's start moving through our questions, and
Yeah.
if we hit any that that pop up, we can help out and give some feedback to this applicant on different items that may come up, because there's a couple that I see that may come up that are probably easy fixes, but we still need to talk about them and make sure they're shown in their drawings.
Mr. Stevie, Michelle had her hand up.
Oh,
Yeah, I just
I
want
can only see, I
to,
can't see all the faces on the side of my screen here. So yes, go ahead.
right as we're getting into the discussion here, I just wanted to acknowledge for the record that I have worked with Brant's team in the past. I haven't had any experience on this project. So I just want to make sure that we don't have any issues there in terms of transparency.
Awesome. Thanks, Rosemary.
That was Grace.
Oh, sorry. So like, where am I?
Okay.
Maria, can you jump us to that? Is this the one we're looking at? I thought we're our 14, our question. This is our questions. There's usually smaller on the screen. Maybe that's why it looks big.
It looks different.
I was like, this is a lot of words. I don't remember it being this many words.
But it's so much easier to read.
Yeah.
It is.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Brant again. I have a very important appointment at 9 that I'm 5 minutes late for. I can leave my other representatives on. Will it be detrimental to this process if I get off?
No, not necessarily.
If it is, I will stay on happily.
If Tim is able to answer any questions or clarify the drawings, that's all we need at this point.
Tammy and William are from my company. They know everything, and Tim is our representative doing the construction. So I feel
Sounds
you're
good.
in good hands.
Yep.
I apologize to leave. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's start running through these. Proposed buildings shall respect scale of those buildings located in development zone, service orderly transition. In areas undergoing change, long-range plans should be consulted for guidance of appropriate heights. I mean, this isn't a new building, but this does kind of fit in this building heights. But we're not really changing building heights. It's more about the front back, right? We okay with this one?
Yeah.
Yes.
All new construction consistent with prevailing setback. We're not having to build any new walls or prevailing setbacks. So this is one here. All new construction shall provide scale defining architectural elements and details. The first 2 floor levels, windows, awnings, house pilasters, columns, balconies. I feel like that's the main question here. We're actually, that's the main question, is providing that. And it's it seems like they're doing their best effort to provide this element, correct?
Yes, agree.
Yes.
Agreed.
Agree.
Your building frontage, you know, it's 100% windows, right? The existing frontage. I think that's the question. That's the comment that that the other team is having, is they don't want to see that enclosure of this space to make sure that that frontage is still visible, that the window frontage is visible. So that might be a recommendation or a provision of any, you know, motion that we make. I would think that would be something appropriate. Like we want to make sure that that glass and into the building stays visible, right?
Right.
Single plane facade at street level may not 50 feet without architectural relief. We're providing that, and this is an existing building. This is the one I was starting to allude to. The facade design shall include pedestrian scaled down shielded glare controlled exterior lighting. Tim, this might be something you know or not. Is there lighting under this canopy?
So, the current subway awning had a sign, and so there's a fluorescent light that was used for backlighting. To my knowledge, there's no intention to reuse that light, so there is no existing plan for lighting under this awning. It would be illuminated from the storefront, from the windows behind. Or I have no lighting or electrical in my purview of work.
Right, you're strictly awnings, right?
Yes, sir.
Per the Rio Nuevo, lighting is required, correct?
Yes.
And when we've reviewed these in the past, we've asked for downlighting.
Right. So I think,
Right.
Paige, if there's someone keeping notes on things that we're checking that could be provisions of whatever motion we make, that would be one. There's existing electrical and existing opportunity to continue lighting in that space. It's just, I think Tim's drawings aren't electrical drawings. You're not an electrical engineer, so you're likely not going to add those. So it may be something we recommend, that they maintain some sort of street level lighting in this space.
Okay, that's noted.
Front doors of all commercial buildings to be visible from the street and visually highlighted by graphics, lighting, marquees, canopies. This project's hitting that one. Agreed?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Modifications shall complement the overall historic context of downtown and respect the architectural integrity of the historic facade. I think that's
Yeah.
likely the main question we have, right?
Right. To me, it comes down to steel versus material.
Yeah,
Canopy.
canvas versus something
Yeah.
a little more substantial and solid, right?
Yeah. Can I point out that Tammy has her hand raised?
Hi. I wanted to know, was the previous structure wasn't it already approved when it was Subway, the metal structure?
It was fabric when it was Subway, right?
Yeah, the awning was fabric, but the
Right.
structure itself was approved.
For a fabric,
Mr.
for
Steve,
for
Steve, members
fabric.
of the
Okay.
DRB, yeah, the existing awning was approved back in 2005.
Okay.
And that was the conversation earlier in this meeting,
Right.
was that if this applicant was just wanting to put canvas or a fabric replacement, then they could just go do that under kind of a maintenance rule, was what my interpretation of it. We wouldn't need a building permit or this process at all, because it's already been permitted and approved. So the change of materials is the trigger here. So on number 8, any comments or points from the board here on complimenting or respecting historic context of downtown, especially this one specific block?
Can we go back to the photograph of the block with the Fox Theater to our right and the,
I feel like it provides a more cohesive streetscape.
It does,
I
without
agree.
the context of what's happening to the east on Fox or the adjacent, Fox awnings. Because those are all going to get renovated when the Fox, the old Brugger's and the commercial space just adjacent to the Fox entry lobby, or those are all going to get modified. Those, I don't know what kind of awnings they're going to have on those,
Yeah.
right?
But just
but
the
they will,
angle, the increased angle and everything is going to be uniform across that block, whereas Subway was previously more of a box.
correct, yeah.
I also appreciate the durability of the metal awning versus the fabric. I think it will weather better and it'll be easier to maintain. And it also matches what's happening down on the corner at Street Taco.
I actually disagree with that. I like the continuation of the material awnings that we are seeing towards the east side, and I think it gives a softer look and perhaps is more coherent to the historic reference.
We don't know what's going to happen at Fox, though.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to make a decision.
I would assume those are not going to remain fabric, but that's a big assumption.
Yeah, it is.
Can I jump in here for 1 second? The Fox, we just put a new cover on that about 2 months ago.
Mm.
And I know they got some sort of a review because the Fox people did it themselves because they had to get the new color approved. But that has a new cover on it. So I don't know if that's just meant for temporary, but I do know that was recovered.
Are you speaking of the red material awning? What exactly are you referring to, sir? Thank you.
The Fox awning, the one that's brown currently.
Oh,
in
okay. The
photo.
brown stripe.
Yeah, that just got recovered like
Okay.
2 months ago. So I'm saying I don't know if that was a temporary fix until they do major modifications, but I do know that one was just
Right.
recovered.
Huh.
Okay, let's put a little check mark next to number 8, Carol.
Okay. Thank you.
Building shall be designed to shield adjacent buildings right away from reflected heat and glare. We're adding an awning. Vehicle parking, I don't think we have any challenges with that. There is bicycle parking at the end of the block that's in a parking corrals to service this strip of commercial. Actually, it looks like there's a little bike rack right in front of this space too, or not right in front, but in front of the Fox Theater. There's a little bike rack. So some parking provided. Shade for sidewalks and pedestrian paths. We're adding an awning and there's street trees. We can talk about the shade study in the next section, but I feel like this is where we're heading in the right direction. Tammy, you have a question?
Yeah, this one's more for Tim. the structure that's currently there, if it was fabric, it would have to be the shape of the previous, wouldn't it? Which was more rounded, the subway?
Well, it's not rounded, it's more box style. But yeah, to recover it with cloth, I mean, you could build the new structure and put cloth on it, but I don't see why you would do that. But to recover the existing, yes, it would have the same shape.
Which is not cohesive with the rest.
I would say not.
Right. So you would have to change the structure if you want it to look like the rest, which as far as fabric, like you said, you don't know what Fox is going to be, but it's metal. Street taco, jaw ramen, those are metal. So I think it would kind of flow better to be metal.
Let's go back to that list. Maria. Where was I?
We're
12.
on 12.
Colors. Colors, the overall color palette, context of downtown, to keep the street rhythm, variety, interest, rationale, or expressive or idiosyncratic use of color needs to be backed up.
I think this is where we're in a conundrum because we don't know what is happening with Fox. And it would be nice if that block had a more uniform look for sure.
Yeah, so
I don't know what to do.
it's like, well, there's some corrugated already. There's painted corrugated if we're staying in that metal tone along this facade or along this streetscape.
Block,
And then
right?
and then there's a bright yellow and a stripe and then some other, like, so there is no real consistent coloring other than Tucson beige on the buildings, right? And
I just want to say there's a precedent already for the metal, and I think, we can't review the Fox. It's not being presented to us today.
Correct.
It's a separate project.
Yeah.
So I think we have to just stick with the precedents that we have in front of us, and this metal awning does match something on the same block.
correct. I think that
Yeah.
this would be one that, if we want to have a discussion, could be open to a recommendation. If we hypothetically, if we wanted to make a recommendation that maybe they tone it a color, the metal material stays, or they give it a color or a rusted finish or a painted finish or some other color, that would be something I think would be open to discussion with this board. 13, new buildings use materials, pattern, elements that relate to the traditional context of downtown. This isn't a new structure, but we are talking about patterns and materials of the downtown area. Adding a new awning, I think, is going to increase this 24-hour street level activity, or at least during business hours, be able to use that space again.
Yeah.
So we had a couple in here in this original 14 that we probably have some check marks next to. But let's jump through the next ones also and just get these kind of done. Or 15, we have number 15, right? Public entries directly from the sidewalk, we have that. So this is an existing structure. Vehicle circulation, parking, we don't need to address those. This is already there. Plazas and open spaces. We're not really creating a new building structure, but I think we're actually increasing plaza and open space in my context of what I think of that, by engaging the front street. Here's one you were talking about, Carol, viewshed corridors. That's really I guess that's for the plazas and open spaces, but it felt like that, keeping a consistent off of the building for all of these outdoor eating
Yeah.
spaces was something that we would want to maintain, and it sounds like they are. So I think we can push past this one. We good?
Does the applicant have a picture? I'd like to just quickly look at the picture with the metal awning, the proposed final product. I believe he did have a
Yeah, there was one in
rendering
the
that,
application. Yeah.
yeah, that showed that. Okay. So, whoops, I can't, yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
God. Yeah.
I mean, it's a little funky and out of scale, but with the image, being in front and behind the tree, there's
Yeah.
a tree in front of that. But
Right.
I'd say even the corrugated, Carol, just if we're looking at it, that corrugated starts to pick up some of that patterning of the striped, of that striped awning on next to it. In my
Yeah,
opinion.
it does.
It starts to pull some of that patterning.
I guess it's the color of the metal sheeting. I don't know, silver against that beige. What's happening down the street? Is it the same silver? I'm sorry, I don't recall.
Yeah, street taco is the same material. The ramen place is painted black.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, I guess consistency would be a good way to go.
Yeah, it seems like this block is starting to set up that corrugated material. So
Yeah, it does.
let's jump back to the last two. I think shade study is the last main thing we can look at, and then we can start moving through some of these conditions, or whether we feel like we can give this thing an up or a down vote on, or send them back to come back with more information, or what kind of determination we want to make here.
Yeah, there we go. There's the sun.
So I'm not sure what this is showing me, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, this might be one of those conditions where we've discussed in the past where the shade studies almost moot. Like, this is an existing building on an existing area. They're adding an awning. I don't know how much more they can do.
Yeah,
There's even a street tree in the space,
yeah.
they provided that, right? Is there any objection to kind of giving them a pass on the shade study, or that what they showed was appropriate for the shade study?
I think
Usually
they've got it.
we'd actually see a graphic, but I didn't take the time to dive into that thing to see what all those technical little lines and dots were.
I
Seems
didn't
like-
either.
Seemed like someone
good
looked
with
at it and
it.
said there will be shade.
So, Mr. Chair, members of the DRB, it's just a replacement, the same footprint.
Yeah,
It's not really any change on the site
Right.
per se. So
Right.
at this point, the design, the shade studies is really not necessary.
yeah, it's a little moot, right? We're kind of going back on that, and that, depending where the right of way line is here, even, there was some determination on that in the past too. I'm feeling okay with the shade study. Any objections to moving on away from that?
No, not
Okay.
from my end.
Agree.
Agree.
All right. Maria, can we pop up back up to the original 15? It seemed like we had one or two in there that we wanted to take some notes on. I recall it was maybe some lighting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Number 6
Um,
was the lighting.
Number 6, lighting. So I'm going to write down some notes. I don't know why I wasn't doing this before. I think number 7 was the other one also, of making sure that front entry in the glass remains visible.
could we go back to the rendering of the proposed metal and take a look at that with number 7 in mind? Thank you, Maria.
Doesn't change.
You-
I just want to say, since they aren't proposing to enclose the space, I'm not sure that we actually need to address it. If they were, I would say, that would be a comment, but since they're not even proposing
Right.
that, I don't think we need to make a comment.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it could be something we add as like as a recommendation or some extra information onto any motion we make, that we encourage them to maintain that open and not enclose it per adjacent properties.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit outside of our stretch, but I think with the next step of it going to another person to make a decision, that might help that, to secure that as a provision of the approval or disapproval on their end.
Yeah, I guess it wouldn't hurt. It certainly wouldn't hurt, and that would also just kind of prevent them from doing that in the future.
Yeah.
Thinking that it
And
was a minor thing they could do without going back for approval, but yeah, I
Correct.
guess
And
we could
I think that was a strong statement from the preservation group to not have it enclosed.
Right.
So I think if we can enforce or reinforce that idea, that it'll just make sure it stays with this project. What else did we have in here? Was it color? Number 12?
Well, 8, somewhat. It's the current rendering showing the proposed facade looks very dull to me. I wonder what will be the outdoor furniture? How will you spruce that up? I know that's probably not under our purview, but I'm curious.
I'd assume it's going to be tables and chairs.
What colors?
I don't think we
Yeah.
can
Right.
really discuss that when we don't know.
I know, but it's, well,
I think, Mr. Chair, members of the board, I think that the furniture thing is too, if it's leased out, the owner may not even have a say in that. So we have no way to know and or control that unless it's fixed permanent seating and tables.
right.
Or something that would require a permit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they could put beanbags out there for all I really would care much. As long as the facade and the awning are the way we want them to be.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if they did put a bunch of plants out there. That'd be awesome. But that was, Carol, that was number 7 for you, right? Are you?
Yeah, 7, 8, whatever.
Well,
Yes, 8
modifications.
Yes, yeah, right. Okay. And then,
Are we good with 8?
yeah, I think I have to be.
And then 12 was color, was another one that you were
Yeah, but
we were kind of flagging of.
the silver corrugated 24 gauge steel awning is will carry the motif from the west to the east.
I think, and the other point on that one I'd like to make, Carol, is that it does open up another owner or the leasing entity the ability to paint that thing or change the color if they want later by coming back. I mean, by even doing that, they would probably need to get a permit or some sort of thing. So there's some flexibility there, and I appreciate that flexibility, and that it has a precedent down the street, right?
Right.
There may be some pressure when Fox gets finished and done, that bright silvery tone might not be gelling with them. They can work something out.
Right. Whatever.
But I think we're okay with the coloring. Any other comments on that? Hearing none. Seemed like we had three items that we could add some recommendations onto any motion we make.
I'd like to say something on the lighting.
The lighting.
on the existing lighting that's there, it almost looks like a shop light. Is that okay if we keep that?
It does,
Just as long as there's
would,
lighting.
yes, as long as there's lighting, I think there just needs to be a provision that there's gonna be some sort of lighting underneath that. You know, the canopy itself creates the down shield for that other, you know, for dark skies.
Okay.
So Tammy, after the recommendation by the DRB, I may be requesting the plans to be revised to include, to depict, right, that existing outdoor lighting, if that's what you would like to keep.
Right.
Okay.
I'm not telling you how to do that, but you could likely just do that by showing a box on the wall and point at existing lighting to remain, you know, like it could be that easy. But I'm not telling you to do that. You can do it any way you want, but that's, you know, it could be that easy. Oh, hit the wrong button. Are we open to creating a motion here? Feels like we are.
Yeah, let's do
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Oh, let's get on with this one. You guys want me to do this one?
Yeah, I have 3
Okay.
points. I mean, 2 points. I don't know what the third one is. The lighting, no enclosure, just to strengthen that. And what was the third one?
We were talking about color, but we
But
kind
we're
of came to
okay,
an
yeah.
agreement with the color, right? So yeah, so
We're
those
letting
two.
that go. Yeah. So just the two is what the
Just
2 notes I
6
have.
and 6 and 7, right?
I think it was. Yeah.
Mhm.
Carol, since you have notes, you want to hit it?
Oh, okay.
No?
Sure, I'll give it a go. You know, I'm terrible at this. Okay, the design review board has reviewed the applicant's project for compliance with Rio Nuevo area design criteria and recommends to the Planning and Development Services Director approval, finding the project in compliance with the design standards set forth in UDC section 5.12.7. C1 through 15 and 5.12.7. Subject to the following 2 conditions. First condition, addition of night lighting for the street level lighting. And number 2, that the awning structure not be enclosed. That's what I have.
Perfect.
I will second the motion.
Any amendments?
Nope.
All those in favor? Ayes.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, Maria, that sounds unanimous to me. It was a long discussion, but it was kind of interesting. We haven't had one of those for a while. It was kind of should have been a no-brainer, but we had to go around the block once or twice.
Thank you, DRB and Tammy. If you could please resubmit the design package showing the outdoor lighting, and then we can proceed with the decision notice for the Rio Nuevo area review.
I appreciate it.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And Mr.
Thank
Chair,
you.
members of the DRB, I'm gonna have to take off at 10:15, but my excuse me, my colleagues Gabriel Slater and Jason here present are gonna take over the meeting if the DRB meeting extends beyond 10:15.
All right, let's try to make that a goal here.
Yeah.
I also have to leave at 10:30.
Let's get going. Pueblo Vita, get a little background on this one, and hopefully we can move right through it.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, members of the DRB, this is another RNA review. And this is an existing building on Broadway. And the applicant is proposing to make several modifications to the exterior of the building. And it's another contributing structure to the National Register. And in October, the PRS reviewed the proposal and recommended approval. with a couple of conditions for windows, and you'll see them depicted on the plans 9, 10, and 11, to be constructed to emulate the existing single-hung windows with the lower sash being inset from the upper sash. And second condition, if structural issues are found during masonry repair, the applicant needs to consult with the historic preservation officer. And that's what I have. The applicant is present. Jason also can help answer historic preservation questions.
I'd say I want to open this up to the applicant to kind of give us a quick review and show us the plan so we can understand where those other comments from other groups were applicable, and we can start moving through this.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Can you guys hear me okay? Very good. I was having some problem with my microphone. I'm going to take you guys through my project. I think I can be, well, I'll kind of speed it up a little bit. This project, fortunately, is inherently compatible with the guidelines of the RNA. And as Maria mentioned, it was previously approved by Historic, which was, you know, a pretty rigorous part of this process. So again, I feel we can touch base more on the impact that this has on the area and with the Rio Nuevo guidelines and design standards. So what you're looking at right here, just have an aerial view for context, and you can see.
Share your screen.
Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
Richard, you need to share your
Sorry about that, guys. I'm moving a little too fast. Okay, now you can see my screen and the project. So we're looking at an aerial view here, and you can see 6th Street and Broadway, and you can see our project here in red. For reference, this is the AC Hotel right next door to the east. Right immediately next is Puebla Vita Tap Room. Behind it, here's Old Johnny Gibson's. Across the street is a VFW, Tucson Electric Power. Everybody kind of is familiar with this area. You will also be familiar, actually looking at our space right here. Previously, this was a Shot in the Dark Cafe, which closed in 2019. This place has been abandoned since then, and the intent here is that Puebla Vita Brewing, who is right next door, would like to take this over and activate this space as another tap room and with a small restaurant. And as you can see here, as Maria mentioned again, this is the development zone map. This is a contributing structure, and this is our historic report. You can see actually the photographs. It was taken when it was pretty much a shot in the dark. This is what we had to work with. You'll see what we're going to propose as we get into it. Again, here's our project. These are some photographs we'd like to take. Again, I know people are probably familiar with this project, but let's take a quick look at looking at the front and the side. You can see actually, because this building is surrounded by buildings to the north and buildings to the west, we're primarily concerned with the south facade and the east facade. This is a photograph looking at the east facade as it exists right now. Largely red brick structure. Some closed up windows. Down here is a roll up garage door. And again, the front of it, similar to the photo I just showed you, shot in the dark, but now actually kind of boarded up. And then we took a photo of Puebla Vita immediately to the west. And because, again, same ownership, and this is relevant because we are touching into some of these design standards. The idea would be to carry some of this look forward. We liked the way this looked. We thought it was historically compatible, the uses of the kind of patinaed steel, and they have a planter out front, similarly done. And again, you'll see as we get into our presentation, that's the theme here, is to carry this across. Not necessarily these going to be connected. This is going to be an entirely different venue. But as far as streetscape goes, we kind of liked the way that looked. Jumping back to my key map here again, we just looked at 1, 2, and 3, and then want to kind of look to the west, look to the east, look to the south. You know, again, part of Rio Nuevo is maintaining the view sheds. This building inherently has view sheds, and you'll see that we're not obstructing it as we get into the project. So again, looking down the streets to the east, looking down Broadway, and you can see this is AC Hotel. And then looking immediately south, this is the VFW building, which is important now because, as you know, this is Llanos has a small sort of private restaurant dining room here. And then over on the other side now, this is an old photo, obviously. This is activated into a restaurant bar area as well. So we are directly across the street. Again, part of the Rio Nuevo kind of design criterias. Zooming in here real quick, this is just a site plan to show give a little bit more context. As we already know, we are in here, and this is Arizona Avenue, which is also it's a pretty heavy pedestrian corridor. Looking along Broadway and streetscape, lots of pedestrian connectivity. I'm going to jump into the floor plan. So right now, what you guys have seen, this is largely, this project has been broken up into a shell where we're doing the exterior improvements, and then we're moving on to the interior. This was more important for historic, as the interior was not so important. I know the interior is a little bit important to you guys because of the use and how the use relates to the Rio Nuevo design standards. So at the very end, we did throw in some information on what we're planning on doing on the inside of the space, even though this was not, you were not privy to this during the review, because at this point in time, we hadn't gotten that far in our design process. So I'll touch base on that a little bit as we get into it. This next slide, a lot of this was for historic. You can see on the top is the existing building. On the bottom is what we're proposing. All the dashed lines are things that we're removing and then and replacing. So what you can largely see here is we're preserving the building in its entirety. We are removing some of the storefronts to replace it with energy efficient glass and also achieve the look that we're after, the more modernized, better streetscape view. You can see we're taking this this old awning out and we're putting in something new, more compatible. And then most noteworthy on this east facade is this area to the back was a storage area, and this was a roll-up garage door. And this is kind of the biggest change. We're putting in this little piece of storefront with a person door, because the idea is we want to activate this space. And flipping back to my site plan, this would be back here off of Arizona Avenue. So we think, again, this is a real add as far as we're preserving what was a restaurant concept and a pedestrian, amenity. We're even adding to it because the back here was largely not that way. So at this point in time, there will be access from Arizona Avenue that to this space in the back. And again, I'll get into that a little bit more when we move to the interior. Keep on scrolling through. Okay, so shade, one of the big things about Rio Nuevo. So in order to meet our shade requirement, we are preserving the awning in the top and doing it in a different way. You can see again immediately adjacent. This was that you saw from the photos. That's a Pueblo Vito awning. We're doing something similar to create our shade, and we have to add 2 trees out here. Position them where they are. Moving on to the landscape plan. There are a lot of utilities in here. We weren't able to put these trees in the ground, so we're putting these trees in planters on the street, where the tree will be this mulga tree, which was recommended to us by PDSD Landscaping as a tree that they thought was compatible with a pot. Not all trees are. So this is where this tree came from. We took this advice and put this in here. We have a fire hydrant to deal with, so we weren't really able to set these trees up exactly as in a nice symmetrical pattern, but we think that they work good. And again, rolling back, this is how we achieved our shade, was we needed to put these 2 trees in here. This actually is what we're looking at here right now. So in a rendered form, the existing building, you can see all of the storefront with, again, it looks a little dark here, but rolling back, the intent was to match. I'm just kind of quick jump back to this photograph here. Again, what you're looking at is the idea is that it would end up, sorry guys, it would end up looking kind of like this type of a metal. Jump back to my looking like this. You can see the planters made out of the same kind of patinaed metal, kind of a rusted blackened metal. You can see the awning that we've got there, the storefronts that we talked about redoing and trying to create a little bit of a more modernized look. I put below here, this is the shot in the dark photograph of what was there, the last activated space. And you can see that we've largely kept the building entirely intact and basically just changed the store, even the rhythm of the spacing of everything, and modernized it and brought it into more what we thought would work better with the tasting room and brewery concept. Rolling back, the other rendered facade that affects us is the west one. And again, similarly, this is entirely preserved as it is, with just the windows reactivated. And again, over here on the corner, entrance to the back of the space off of Arizona Avenue. That completes the exterior building. I'm going to fold over, just kind of give you touch base a little teeny bit on what we're doing on the inside. And again, this is our space, like I'd mentioned earlier. Oops, sorry guys, went a little too far there. Sorry, you'll see that in a minute. Just kind of wanted to touch base real quick on the floor plan, right? We know we have this basically box space. The idea would be for the southern portion to be this dining seating area with a bar for the beer tasting. We have in the corner up here restrooms, and then in the back we're building a small restaurant that I talked about that would be accessible. I'm losing my pointer here. Sorry, guys. This area back here is a small kitchen, and it would be accessible from Arizona Avenue, a few seats in here, and then also accessible by the restaurant. So the idea behind this is that we're thinking of this as almost like a little street food place, like a little taqueria that would be, you could stop in here, grab something small and light, or you could get something from it to go with your tasting room experience. And then as far as visual, I kind of skipped ahead to that. This is kind of what we're, these are just design images, but this is a general idea of what we're doing. The inside of the space is an interesting old brick building. We're largely keeping that intact and opening it up. Previously, it had some ceilings that we're pulling out, again, trying to give the feeling of this old building. And then we're going to embellish it with the tasting area for Pueblo Vita's brewery, and then seating for people, and then restrooms. And in the back, sorry, we'll look back at this other view, looking from the restaurant back out. You can see we've preserved the storefront, and then here view sheds to across the street to the VFW building and pedestrians. And we feel that's a really good use of, you'll really get the feeling of the street from in this restaurant. And then lastly, in the back, this is just a little idea concept of this little sort of taqueria street food place. The idea that you would come in off of Arizona Avenue, you could have some street food. This could be open different hours necessarily than the tasting room, but they're kind of connected and kind of not connected at the same time. I'll jump back to the floor plan. So you can get to all these spaces from all these sort of spaces. So I'm going to jump back now to the just the kind of exterior view and finish up the presentation and let you guys chime in with any comments and questions that you have at this time.
Awesome. Thanks for that presentation. It was very thorough and probably hit on every item that we have to go through. Rosemary?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Love the presentation. Thanks for having it so clear and keyed and all those good things. My main question is, so PRS looked at this and they had some comments on the glazing.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Yes.
the glazing you have shown in slide 14, does that reflect the proposed design with their recommendations implemented, or will there be something different from this?
Yeah, so we updated this presentation to reflect the comments that they had, and the comments that they had were not so much about the specific glazing. Primarily, the comments were related to this facade right here, and the idea of the way that we're doing these window systems, and particularly these guys right here. That these window systems, they thought that originally they were like a sash type of window that was operable. We don't want to have operable windows in this. The comments were that we make them look like an operable window in the way that we designed the mullion system, so that it preserves the look of an operable window even though it's not operable. That was the primary comment regarding the glazing system, and we have incorporated those notes into. If I kind of scroll up here into our these are our construction drawings, and then we copied these notes in there, what they asked for, and also that we do some touch up to the brick. So that's what these are primarily concerning.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Carol?
Yeah, several questions. Could we go to your west elevation? Yeah, okay. The door in and out, access, egress in and out, that is actually putting people right out into a vehicular travel lane, will there be some kind of delineation between pedestrian area and vehicular area?
Not at this point. You know, this Arizona Avenue is already currently, it's a combination vehicle and people, and it none of the other locations seem to do anything like this. We weren't proposing to do anything like that. We weren't going to do actually any work at all. If I would go back, I don't know how well this photo is. I don't have Street View available to me right now. It doesn't
That's
always
okay.
work, but you know, this is existing, and we weren't proposing to do anything to it. You know, this area, people walk up and down here all day long, and it might could use to be a little more pedestrian friendly, but it's working right now, and we weren't planning to do anything different. We weren't going to pull the concrete out and put pavers or anything like that. We were prepared to leave Arizona Avenue as it is. But again, just so here's a door right here coming into the back of our place, and we were just going to put another one right there.
But isn't this what you're proposing going to be sort of a well-used egress for your restaurant? I love the idea of your whole concept, but you know, conflict between pedestrians and vehicles is a concern.
Yeah, it's a point well noted, but it seems to be a condition that exists along this entire, I keep calling it an alley, but it's a road, I know.
Yeah.
And it seems to be working okay for the other, you know, if I had a better photo down the road where High Wire is and where Johnny Gibson's used to be, and those places seem to be doing okay the way that they're doing it. So I didn't really know much more what we would do without then stepping outside of our, you know, that's not even property we own, you know, as far as what we would do to it.
Carol, this Arizona Avenue all has, the businesses all along here all have direct access to the Minor Avenue.
Okay. Well, all right. Another question, if you could go to the planter.
And to clarify, it's primarily, the primary use of Arizona Avenue is an exit from the parking garage. Like, it's not necessarily highly used as through traffic, Carol.
Okay. Your rendering of the planters. Okay. And then go to the actual plan of your planter showing the details, the slide right above. Yeah. Okay. So could you zoom in on the planter? I have a couple questions when I reviewed that on the actual planter elevation drawing. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. What is that 3/8 inch steel plate on top? Is that a trim piece?
Yeah, that's a little trim piece. Exactly.
Okay.
Just to, yeah. So that it's not a sharp edge.
Right. Okay. Now, is that going to be core 10 or mild carbon steel? And your patina thing, I'm wondering.
Right now, the idea is that it's just regular steel, but then we rust it and to a little bit and then stop the rust again. We're trying to achieve a look a lot like this. So this kind of blackish, rustish thing. That's kind of what we're after.
Right.
I'm sorry, I lost my.
That's okay. I'm wondering is that how that look was achieved on the existing building that you're emulating?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. It was not core 10 steel.
No, they made it so that they could control it. We could control it, have a little, so it's not fully rusted core 10. We want to be like part rust, part blackened, and we seal it when it's a little bit rusted, but not entirely rusted.
Okay. And your diameter of planter, your square dimensions is 3 feet, and you're proposing a 36-inch box to be transplanted into it. That's going to be a tight fit, very tight. You might want to think about downsizing your box size of tree.
I think this was recommended to us by a landscape designer on another project. Again, this tree size was what we initially discussed with the PDSD landscaper, but similarly, this was noted to us, and I on another project we dropped it all the way down to like a 25 or 30 gallon tree actually to give it a better chance.
Right.
We could even go down. We definitely could take that down to a smaller tree to give it a better chance. We were trying for like immediate shade, but it would probably be better in the long term, and we would be amenable to that condition.
Committee members, what smallest size would we allow? Because they're basing their shade study on a 36-inch box tree. So how do we work that?
Is the
Well, I'd
shade
rather have
on
the-
the, oh, sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say, I just think this, are you talking about the species or the pot? Because I think the species is going to be too big for that container ultimately, and that's not good.
I agree, but we've let that slide in the past. But the idea of planting a 36-inch box into a 36-inch planter
No, that doesn't work.
is not going to work.
This species, like I said, guys, we go all, we want shade tree. We're not so concerned with it, but this species was recommended to us by a PDSD landscape reviewer. That's where we got this tree from. We're using the same tree down the street for the project, the post next to the Monica, also recommended for this because he thought it was a good tree. We met him on site actually. So I guess maybe that's a matter of debate if it's a good tree or not. We'd be happy to entertain another tree as well. We're not married to this at all. Any recommendations you guys have about tree and size, we'd be happy to entertain.
Paige, do you have a better idea for tree species?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, it is a little
I just
big.
feel like the container's kind of small, and I
Yeah,
just don't think it's gonna do well in the long term.
My comment on the tree isn't necessarily a species because it actually is probably a pretty good one for this space considering it's narrow and it's a tree that's going to stay that way and not jump over traffic and be overhanging. But I would think Carol's comment, and this is kind of outside of our purview, so we're kind of giving you advice. But I might jump that down to a 25 and use a 3x3 box. But the question I was going to ask is, would there be opportunity to make these planters a little bigger and move them a little closer to the curb line to maybe define if you have the existing flow of pedestrian traffic is on your ramp. If you pull them a little closer to the street, there is a bike lane adjacent to that, so you wouldn't have to be doing such hard pruning like you would for under a vehicle lane, but it might be an opportunity to increase your planter size a little bit, pull them just another foot closer to the street, and then you start with the 25 gallon. Now you have a recipe for having a tree that's going to be successful without adding, I don't think, a huge burden to your project.
No, for sure. I think again, a similar project that we just went through a review on a little bit further down, actually on Congress, we bumped this up to a 3.6 by 3.6, and then I think went with a 24-inch box tree, and and that would obviously work here as well too, providing we can maintain our, we need to maintain 6 foot through there, but you're right, if we scoot it a little bit, to this direction, then I think
scoot a little south and just make sure Dave Marhefka is okay with that spacing, and I think you'd probably be good.
Yeah, I'm just going to jump real quick over to my just general site plan and just because it had some dimensions on it, right? And just kind of see what we really, I'm sorry guys.
There. Yeah.
So it looks like, so yeah, right now we're 2 feet. So you can see this barely gets us our 6 feet, right? And our 2 feet, but if we could push it to 1 foot, then it looks like we could be okay. And we could still maintain our 6 feet pedestrian to the north. We could scoot it down to 1 foot, and we could bump the planters up to 3'6". So that would be something we could be amenable to doing. That would be nice.
Is that actually 6 feet or is that 9 feet? Because you're 5.
Oh gosh, it is 9 feet. I'm sorry, you're right. I'm looking
okay. Your orientation of your dimensions.
We got
so
lots
you got
of
some
room.
Space, right?
Yeah, we can do it.
So I look into that, and that does that help, Carol?
Well, why make it square? Why don't we get the additional square footage for the growth of the tree by making it rectangular along the east-west line.
That's kind of up to them. I mean, if
Yeah,
they want to do it
it's-
east-west or square or rectangular or octagon, you know?
Right. I don't really like the idea of pushing that planter closer, 1 foot closer, because, you know, the tree is juvenile and its branches are going to be low. I'd rather keep it at the 2 feet, but maybe increase the planter space by making it rectangular along the
Sure.
east-west cardinal, you know what I mean? Yeah, right.
So, Richard, can you work that out with Dave Marhefka?
Yeah, we definitely will. He's the one actually who recommended the mulga tree,
Right.
so.
So just,
yeah.
I'd say it's not necessarily going to be a comment or I don't think a thing within our any motion we make, but
Right.
I would say just maybe massage that with Dave a little bit and make sure he's okay with it and make sure that you're doing something to optimize the health of the trees you're proposing.
Certainly.
Right, and I have another comment, bike racks. In
Mhm.
the existing, there's a little heart-shaped bike rack. Where are your new bike racks?
So right now we're putting that's a good question. I know we
Go
want
back to
bikes
the
to
drawing you were just on,
did you
Richard.
do-
It shows the bike
that was
racks
on
in
the
there.
render. I thought we wanted bikes to be inside the building, but
Or the plan view
The
you just
old
had
one.
open had
Yeah. So
had bike rack showing.
There, you see
Yeah.
the little heart one?
So
I call it
think
a
this-
heart one.
Yeah. So this is a really old one. But wait, you said you saw one in that other photograph in this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
heart
I
one's
think-
gone
yeah.
already,
Yeah,
Carol.
Oh, okay. Okay,
that's
so where
gone.
are your bike racks?
And then that's a good question. Do we show the bike rack view?
There's some in the
Richard?
plan
Okay.
view.
Yeah.
I think they also had your interior view. You could see those bike racks from the
Yeah.
interior rendering.
And so, you know, we definitely, we had, this is where, Jacob has been working on this, they're outside? Okay, so I guess in the alcove on this is news to me. I wasn't following up on this. I apologize, guys. So I guess what he's saying is that, shoot, sorry, I'm moving too fast here. I guess what he's saying is that it's, that the idea is that we were going to hang bikes, right? We were going to have hanging bike racks right here in the entry is what we're going to do. Now, it also feels like per development plan that we would need some kind of bike racks. You know, we're still developing this plan out in the street as well too, to satisfy bike parking. Maybe this satisfies it, maybe it doesn't, but I think conceptually we like the look of the idea that these bikes would be hanging out here. And I will say this, the Pueblo Vita people have said before that they have a very serious biking community. We're trying to create a space inside. A lot of their users bring the bikes into the current Pueblo Vita because they don't like to leave them out in the street. They have very expensive bikes. And so we're working with the interior design to create a place inside that people could bring their bikes in. And it also looks interesting to see the bikes on the inside of the restaurant. That's another concept we're working with.
Yeah, bringing the bikes inside sounds like a great idea. I do have an accessibility concern with hanging them in the doorway there. Maybe on the opposite side would be more appropriate, but there are also quite a few existing bike racks. Yeah, on Broadway.
There's some down here, and we would have to take a look at. And again, previously, right? I think there was, you saw in a couple of different cases, there was the heart-shaped one here, and then also in the old view, there was one here that got pulled. If we had to put some bike racks, short-term bike parking in front, that wouldn't really be an issue. And that feels like that would be a comment from the building department as well too.
That would be a development plan issue currently, right?
Okay.
And you have shared use with Pueblo Vita proper, right? You have five, 6 racks right there already.
Yeah,
And there's
right.
Yeah, there you go.
And there's another 2 down the way closer to the tattoo shop to the west. So
okay.
There's ample bike parking in my opinion along this street. So or in this area. But if you wanted to add more, go nuts.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else?
Are we sure the ramp, the handicap ramp into the building, when you're coming down off that handicap ramp, we've had this problem before, that you're not running into some kind of existing pole or something? I wanted to check that and I didn't. I didn't have a chance to. Could we look at the ramp plan and existing proposed
So-
ramp?
You guys aren't proposing to make any other changes to the exterior other than those planters, right, Richard?
Exactly, yeah. So there would be this, I'm just kind of zoom in, there would be, this appears to be like it's got, the audio, the detective strips, and it looks like it might be a sufficient ramp right now, improved ramp from the sidewalk.
Okay,
Hard to
and
tell.
we don't, okay. Just wanted to
Not
check.
necessarily,
Thank you. Those
but,
are my comments.
Just anecdotally, Carol, that the ramps we're both looking at, or accessibility spots we're looking at, were improved when the AC Hotel went in.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Here's a good
Rosemary?
shot of those. Here's a good shot of all the bike racks too. Just noticed that.
Yeah.
All right.
I just have one comment, and I just wanted to jump back to Carol's comment from earlier, just about the pedestrian ingress and egress that's coming off of Arizona Avenue. Would it be possible, or would it make sense to put in a bollard or two just to protect that doorway?
Yeah, I know that would definitely be a thing. In fact, like I said, I'm zooming into this guy right now. I think that was already done for, there already is one poor resolution photograph here. So there already is one. You can't really see it in the shade, but I believe there's probably another one over here that protected this entry and whatnot. So that could be a thing. Yeah.
That would help.
Yeah.
It's,
And there is one adjacent to this white door. It's kind of a gray vertical
Yeah,
along the
right.
edge of that white door. That's an existing
Yeah.
bollard.
that would be a good idea, but that's not in our purview to comment, is it? for you
Well, I'm
guys?
not sure. I mean, if
Yeah.
it's part of the pedestrian way, I think it kind of is, and it's a life safety thing, so it's building code, but there's a reason why they have professionals on the board, so I feel like we need to bring up those things when we see them.
Yeah.
DRB, this is staff person Jason Lowenthal. I was wondering if I could share a street view where you can see all these bollards going down Arizona that might kind of help with this discussion. That'd be all right. Yeah. So hopefully it's showing on your screen. This is looking down Arizona. You can see there's already currently some ballards. Just to the right of where the proposed project is, you've got white ballards that are even coming further out.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I've
that's
done
good.
site visits on here. I've walked up and down this alleyway. Car traffic has gone by. I felt no safety concerns at all going up and down that street.
Those white bollards are protecting gas meters.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is protecting gas meter, but you can see it kind of pushes traffic out to the side away from any ingress egress.
I don't know,
It-
people will be drinking inside your bar. They're going to be having fun and loosening up, and they come out of the door and not paying attention. I would take any and all precautions possible if it was my business.
I'll remind you, Carol, that this portion of the alley is one-way traffic heading south, and the only way to get to it is from the AC Hotel and parking lot. So it's not a through alley to Congress, and you cannot move from Congress south on this alley. So that the
Yeah,
traffic load it's basically a PAL. It's a parking area.
Yeah, I think it helped seeing those existing bollards and knowing that area is already protected. So thanks for showing us that.
The utilities along here are protected. That's mostly what the bollards are for. And I'd say there's I understand the concern for having some pedestrian in here, but the precedent along this street, those things, Johnny Gibson's, Highwire, the prior building, the distillery, those all open directly to this alley. It's a matching existing condition. Maybe you could put a big welcome mat out there. Actually, there's things you could do, Richard, with, if you guys want to get really creative without having to change paving in there, you could come in and do some sandblasting or etching or something like that if you wanted to do something creative. But that would be within probably communication with DTM, since it's their space.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, anything that we can do to make that nicer, to enhance our space will make us more successful,
Yeah, and safety concerns too,
Correct.
Safety first.
So if you could maybe add that to your list of things to talk to Dave Marhefka about, see if there's any opportunities or challenges with doing something like that.
Sure.
Should we move back and as far as discussion goes, we're ready to jump through our 15, or do we have anything else we need to talk about? Rosemary, Grace, are you guys good with the window glazing, the provisions that were made for that were reflected in this?
Yes,
as far
I'm
as like those mullions and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I appreciate that they're taking historic's cue there. I think that will turn out really nice.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have anything else facade related that we spent a lot of time on the ground plane? Is there anything facade related, awning? Last submission we spent a half hour talking about awning materials. Are we good here?
Just one pesky comment is that the elevations are labeled west and they're actually east, but that's not a building issue, so it's fine.
I saw that too, Rosemary, but I figured, oh well, we've got bigger fires to
yeah, that's just a typo. So
just a typo, right?
That was just in your particular presentation, unfortunately. I changed it for historic, but I forgot to change it for you guys.
Oh, that's how you think of us. I get it.
All right.
Okay, I think if we're okay with presentation, any other points of conversation, we're ready to go through our 15. No? Yes?
let's do it.
So, Mr. Chair, members of the DRB, Gabriel Slater has joined in. And Gabriel, if you could please share your screen. He's gonna take over the meeting. I need to take off. I apologize. But if I may, Mr. Chair, before I go, just a quick update. So Mayor and Council approved the demolition request by the Fox Theater. So sometime in the future, we don't know exactly when they will submit their plans and design package, and it will go through the RNA review process. And the other update I wanted to share with you is the Ascend Tucson, the new apartment building. I think it's over 200 units in the Sunshine Mile district. So we've been having conversations with the design professional and the applicant, and they will be submitting soon for a courtesy review with both the PRS and the DRB. And those are my updates. So Gabriel, if you want to share your screen, and I apologize, I need to take off.
Thank you, Maria.
No, thank you. And if I leave and the recording stops, Gabriel, can you please restart it?
Yep.
Thank you so much. Bye.
While we're paused for a minute, I just want to share a concern. We're already at 10:15 and we still have another project to review. And I know several of us need to take off. I just am concerned we may not have quorum.
Well, let's get talking through this one, get this one checked off, and then we can circle back to that, right? If we can. Kate, were you the one that had a 10:30?
Leave at 10:30.
Okay.
I will also need to jump off at 10:30.
Okay, so let's get this one done.
Yeah.
And then check time.
Cool. So the next item is
Gabriel, we need to go through and actually run a motion. So we need to check to our 15. I need those up on the screen real quick.
Oh, 15. Got it. Pardon me. It's been a minute.
Yep.
15 is down there.
Move through these pretty quick because I think there's only a couple that we may have something to talk about on.
Yeah.
The building shall respect scale. This is an existing building. I think the scale of the building staying the same. As far as building height and massing. Construction with setbacks, we're not dealing with any setback changes, correct? New construction shall have scale defining architectural elements on the first 2 levels. Are we good with this one? I think we're providing some awnings and some, it's a different facade, but it's still providing some rhythm, correct? We good with that?
Yeah. And it's
Agreed.
continuing what has been done
Okay.
in a way. Yeah.
Number 4 says the percent of building facade is glass. It seems like this one's actually floor to ceiling, adding some glass to what was there. It's definitely adding glass to what's there now because it's all wood and it's boarded up. Single plane of facade should not be longer than 50 feet. I think we're there. It's the existing building. We're not changing that anyway. Down shielded lighting. Richard, is there any lighting underneath this?
Yeah. Good question.
Awning or building facade? Is there lighting? You guys gonna add any?
Hi, Chris. This is Jacob. Richard had actually dipped out for a meeting, but
Okay.
I'm going to take us the way up, and I worked on the project. I was the one who worked on most of it. So
Perfect.
currently there is no plans for down lighting underneath the new canopy. We do have existing lighting that's already within the building. If I can just quickly.
I think we just need to know whether or not there's a light. Yeah.
Yeah, so there was these, you can kind of see it in this picture. We have those existing lightings right here. And so we didn't have any plans for adding any lighting. If you would like for us, we can easily add it in, no problem.
Yeah, we'll likely make that.
Yeah.
One question I do have since we're here is what is the horizontal material on that awning about Pueblo Vita? I can't remember if it's solid or if
it's perforated.
Okay, so that lighting that you have would, if it's down shielded, would actually make it to the street.
Correct.
Okay. Rosemary?
Oh, I was just going to confirm that the existing lighting would remain.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Gabriel, can we jump back? Yeah, to our 15.
Yep, coming up.
We're on number 7. Building shall be visible from the street and highlighted graphics, marquees, canopies. We're hitting that one. Exterior historic building shall complement historic context downtown, architecturally, integrity, and historic facade. We're all good on that one? Yes?
Yep.
Yes.
We're not building a new design, so can skip 9. 10 was the one, Carol, you guys were having some concern about vehicular areas designed to minimize conflict with pedestrians and bicycles. How do we land there?
Oh, I didn't think it was in our purview to make a suggestion, but look at this. It is.
Yeah, it's tooled around parking areas, but this isn't necessarily a parking concern spot for this place, but pedestrian safety is something that that we're looking at. So
I don't think we landed on a consensus. We looked at existing bollards and various people seemed happy with existing ones, but I don't know, people stumbling out of that door at nighttime and I would like something more in their face, if you will.
I really do think this item is focused on the parking and
On a parking item, right?
yeah, and it would be overreach to address
Okay.
the pedestrian access in the alley
I
since there is
think-
no parking there, unless there
think
is
we-
parking there.
We might be able to handle this, Carol, with looking back at number 6, that on the east side of the building that applicant ensures that existing lighting or additional lighting be provided at those exits to make sure that
That's a
they're
good
well lit
idea.
and that there's no dark spots on that. There is existing lighting fixtures on that side of the building. We just need to maybe add that maybe we add that to a condition to a motion we make, that the existing lighting on that side of the building be upgraded to be fully down shielded and focused on egress locations.
Yep, that's a great idea, Chris. That's a great solution.
Does that help? Does that help your comfort with this east side?
A little bit, yeah. At least they're not stumbling out into darkness.
Into a dark space, correct? Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Because the nearest like street level light is down the block a little bit.
And that's on the east facade,
East facade, yes.
at east facade egresses. Okay. There are 2 egresses on the east facade. Is that correct? 2. Yeah.
I
Okay.
believe so.
Yeah.
11, shade provided sidewalks and pedestrian pathways, using shade structure or vegetation. They're in coordination with the city to provide that.
Where do we get in increase planter size and shape? Where do we put that?
We can possibly add that as a recommendation. I mean, if they're providing those, that they are, in my opinion, hitting number 11. It's just we would maybe recommend that they coordinate with the city to increase the planter size for potential health of the tree.
Yeah, it's our recommendation that they increase the planter size.
And that it's coordinated with the city.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a square. It can be rectangular, so you get it to fit.
Right. Colors. Sounds like they're keeping existing brick and using a rusted steel, which kind of fits the street.
Yep.
Rosemary, you and Grace,
Yeah.
you guys good? And Kate, you guys good with that?
I'm good.
It's good to me.
New buildings, this is not a new building, but I think the materials and patterns are relating to the traditional context of downtown, which is, starting to become the peach mullions. I don't know how else to describe those, with the steel and open glazing. 24-hour street level activity. Sounds like we're having a discussion about this actually being a 24-hour space, or at least till 2 a.m. space.
Yeah, and we're adding lighting, and that's
Correct.
that. I think that's good, really good. 2 facades now.
And the primary public entry will be directly from the sidewalk. The primary entry is the one on the south side, not these side entries. I think those are more, exit doors, or the primary use of them. So is that, we're good here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where did we land on bike racks?
We're good.
We're good
I think
because
they have some, but if they.
and
if
they can add 2. Okay.
They could, there's space for them to add if development plan or development reviews require additional for this structure. They have space, they could add them.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's jump through the parking ones pretty quick here.
Parking ones.
Yeah, there's usually some vehicle circulation, parking, plaza and open space. I'm not sure these actually apply to this project other than we're directly next to a vehicle access way from a parking garage, not associated with us, this project. Any concerns on these, on 1, 2, and 3?
No.
I don't think so.
Shades are number 4 on this one, right?
In regards to the planters for the shade, in the UDC, like the landscape standards, planting areas have a minimum of 34 square feet. I know this is within like vehicular use areas, but I think that's kind of a good standard to go with when you're looking at canopy trees, which is what these are.
Paige, would that be the total?
What's the square root of 34? I don't know what that is.
Sort of
Per,
6.
per tree.
Per tree. Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
I mean, if they're separate trees, that's like the planting, that's the planter area. So
It's like 6 and change, Chris.
a minimum, yeah.
That's big.
Yeah, but you know,
But-
trees have roots that grow and extend typically beyond the drip line, and so putting a tree in a 3x3 planter is, dare I say, cruel.
It is. It's plant torture.
It's an item we've had to deal with in the past too, of that there's no opportunity to add a tree in the ground here. There's utility
Right.
conflicts and that, but then we're turned around and we're requested to provide them through these requirements. So,
Right, so the request is to make a larger planter.
Right. And
Correct.
Paige, I appreciate your 34 square feet. You know, that's about 3 by 10 plus a little bit, which is, you know, medians. But
that's a parking median, right? That's
yeah,
you know,
parking median, which are
you're-
skinny stupid.
right. And
It's a
in
it's a
the
4 foot width
traditional
minimum.
streetscape, we have 4x4 or 3x3 tree grates that are pretty standard in the, but of course that has room for roots to go bigger. I think we make a recommendation that they do what they can with coordination with DTM to get a larger planter in there. I'm not sure we can do more than that at this time.
Right. And
unless
it
we
doesn't
start
have to, it doesn't have to be square. Okay? It doesn't
Correct.
have to be square. You'll get more with a
Alright.
rectangle. Parallel to the curb.
I think we need to move to get a motion going.
Yeah.
Someone want to take this one, or I can do
So
it
I
if we
think-
wish.
We have some notes, don't we?
I wrote down 2 notes.
Larger planter and addition of downlighting both under the the canopy and at the east facade egresses.
Yeah, I think the comment is that existing lighting is going to remain and that they need to identify or show that it's going to be upgraded to fully downshielded and provide
Okay.
lighting at the egresses, right?
Right. That eases my mind a lot, that there's lighting there when people come out or cars go by, they see it. Yes, that helps a lot.
And it highlights the doors. That's the intent of that number.
Yeah,
Okay. Are we
go for it,
good
Chris.
to make a motion? I can go for it. We're good. Any other comments? No? Design Review Board has reviewed the applicant's project for compliance with Rio Nuevo area design criteria and recommends the Planning and Development Services Director approval, finding the project in compliance with design standards set forth in UDC section 5.12.7.c, numbers 1 through 15, and 5.12.7.d. Subject to the following conditions. The board recommends that the existing lighting fixtures on the south and the east facade be upgraded with full down shielded lightings to provide, or down shielded to provide lighting at the egress points and highlight the doors. And that the client, that the applicant coordinate with Department of Transportation and Mobility to increase planter sizes for the 2 trees on the south side of the property to the extent possible and allowable within right of way. Any amendments?
I second the motion.
I don't know if I'm doing that in the right order, but I
Oh.
know we have that opportunity. Then no, you're good. I'll put that to a vote. We have a second from Carol. All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Opposition? Hearing none. We're good.
Thank you.
It is 10:32.
Yeah.
I don't
Thank
think
you.
I think we're gonna lose quorum.
Yeah, I'm
Gabriel, how
sorry.
many
you have
people
to-
do we need to have quorum? Is it 3?
I believe it's 3.
And who's leaving?
I'm-
Cade?
yeah.
So who
I'll
else
be-
is
I
able to
need to
stay? I'm
go.
able to stay.
I'm able to stay.
Okay,
I guess I
Carol,
can stay.
Rosemary, you're able to hang out for
I need to go.
Paige? I don't know, do we want to entertain? I don't know if we want to. I don't know why we put this one on today.
So this one's not going to
This
the
is gonna
zoning
be a long
examiner until
one.
late January. So it's, you know,
We looked
there
at
is
this
a window
prior.
to continue this.
Oh,
Thanks all. I gotta go. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
See,
Thank you, Kate.
see you next time. Thanks. Bye.
Gabriel,
Grace,
can I make my name is Brian Pugh. I'm the applicant for TP on the next one.
Yeah.
Gabriel's correct. May I make a suggestion? That, yes, the zoning examiner hearing, which we need the recommendation for, will not be until January. If we could ask staff and board members that make sure we have a quorum in December. If we do this, if we continue in December, that we ensure that, because then that would allow us to have the conversation that we need to have and be able to make sure when the recommendation came in plenty of time for the zoning examiner to review it.
We do
Brian,
have a
actually,
meeting in 2 weeks, yeah.
Our next meeting is the 21st of November.
That will work.
Are you agreeable to that? Is that, I apologize for having you hang out and sit here for this amount of time and then to not hear your case. That's unfortunate, but is that okay with you? Is that amenable to your schedule and to your client?
Yes, we can make that work, as we obviously want to have the full board here.
And have enough time and energy to
Correct.
fully discuss
yeah,
this,
to look at
because
it.
we all know this is a pretty big project, and it has, if I remember correctly from our informal review, maybe like a year or so ago, there was a lot of concerns and things we wanted you guys to address. So I have a feeling it's going to take some time.
Right. If I recall correctly, there'll be a neighborhood input from this, neighbor input.
There will
Correct?
be a public notification process prior to the zoning examiner's hearing.
And the last meeting there
A
was.
neighborhood meeting was already held. Neighborhood meeting was
Right.
held in August.
Okay, never mind.
Maybe we could put this first on the agenda for our next meeting.
Definitely.
I would recommend that, yes, Gabriel, that this gets put as the first item.
Yeah, we can do that.
And I would also recommend, if we're going to table this, let's give this application the diligence of us reviewing it in detail on the side before we come in.
Yes.
Because there is a lot of information involved in this, and there's a lot of kind of nuance, and it's a lot of landscaping. So And there was some big walls and things like that. So
Yeah.
let's make sure we do our homework.
And new posts, new big posts.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
There's a
going on
lot to
here.
it. Yep.
And I'm actually Gabriel, please be aware, and maybe Maria and I need to talk. I may have to recuse since this is, I believe, U of A conveyed property, and I'm an employee of the U of A. I'm not sure if there's a conflict there or not. We may have to take a look.
Yeah, we can certainly discuss that.
I don't think there should be, but I just want to make sure we're clear and transparent that I represent the university in landscaping and other items around here. And this is U of A property currently, but I think we sold it. So I don't know if that has any.
That is correct.
Parity.
It is currently TEP property.
Right. So I don't think there is, but let's maybe take that back to Maria and see if there is. So that could affect quorum. That's all my concern. But if you guys are okay with tabling this to next, and we can make sure that happens with the applicant in this group, I'm good with that. And I believe we need to motion that. So I'll make a motion that we table application TP ENT 1025-00021 until the next scheduled meeting.
I will second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. I apologize for kind of running out of time and having those other items stack up on us. I appreciate your ability to be flexible and come back at our next meeting.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other business we need to attend to, Gabriel, other than any staff announcements?
I don't believe so.
Elections.
The election of chair and vice chair. I don't know if that happened, or if maybe we want to table that until the 21st as well.
Yeah.
Can we all be there? At least that are here currently? Can we be there?
I can be there on the 21st.
The 21st. Yeah.
No. All right. Well, if we can all commit to that, and then hopefully we'll get Cade and Dan and Grace there. Is that everybody?
Yeah. Gabriel, do you know what we have on deck coming up? I thought Maria put another notice out that we had something on package already for next meeting.
I don't know. There's no agenda yet, and I haven't done DRB in a minute, so I'd have to look into it.
Yeah.
I don't think either of the other two she mentioned will be ready for next week, so not sure what else is lined up.
Yeah, one was Fox, one was the big new apartment complex over there on the old Tucson School District property. That neighborhood might have some thoughts. Actually, it's already contentious, but so I think if we have just this, maybe bring that back to Maria, Gabriel, that this TEP one is going to be number one. We'd like to do board elections. That's been pushed off probably 3 or 4 meetings now, or we haven't had a meeting for a while. So it's been several months since that's really come up to being needed to be done. So it would probably be advantageous to us to not schedule any other applications for this next meeting.
Okay. Yeah. We've got some notes on that. I'll pass it on.
Yeah. That's I think that's a good tactic, Chris. Just the big TEP and then elections.
Right.
Yep.
And let's schedule the elections for after. I think just so they don't have to sit around and listen to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, already got it.
Great. Have a great weekend, everybody.
And then I'll call us done at 10:41, Gabriel.
I was gonna
Okay,
say I moved
thank
to
you.
adjourn.
Yep.
I second the motion.
Yeah,
Okay.
I hit the gavel. I'm not even sure we need even a motion adjournment. How loosely we follow Robert's rules around here is probably
We're tight. We're super tight.
needs to
Come
be
on,
looked
Chris.
at. I appreciate everyone's time today. Those were probably two kind of weirder ones that we've had lately. The one that seemed like it should have been very simple, but ended up not being.
Right.
But and we've been trying to make an effort to make these more succinct, but we still went to an hour each, and that we gotta work on figuring out how to do that cleaner. That's probably on me. So
Oh.
see you guys in 2
Thank
weeks.
Thanks, everyone.
you.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks.
Have a good weekend. Bye.
Now.